Notice that I'm barefoot.
And do they look like male feet or female feet?
Female feet.
Are they dirty, clean?
Dirty.
And so you feel female, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
Feel young, old, kind of in the middle,
In the middle.
healthy, unhealthy.
Healthy.
And what about any clothing you might have on your body? Do you have any clothing? And if so, what does that look like?
I'm Native American, so tribal clothes.
Are they colorful or like tan? Well, we've
A
seen a couple.
tan.
Is it a dress you're wearing or a skirt or pants or what do you feel like you're wearing?
More just, I guess it would be described as a dress, but it's like not of what a type of dress that you would see today.
Okay. Short sleeve, long sleeve?
There's no sleeves.
Okay.
It's like holes for the arms. It's like a sack.
Okay. And do you feel like you're carrying anything or have anything in your hands?
No, not right now.
Okay. What about any jewelry or anything on your head?
Nothing on my head, but I have bracelets on. Like they're kind of rock-like.
Okay. And if you were to take a snapshot of your life right now, what kind of adjectives would you use to describe your life?
Peaceful, easy, happy.
Okay. And let's do this. Take me to the place where you lay your head at night or that you call home. Let's go stand in front of it now and describe it for me from the outside. So now that we're standing outside of it, in front of it, tell me what it looks like.
It's kind of like a teepee of sorts, but it looks a little different than what we would see as a teepee. It's still made out of skins, um, but the shape is different.
Okay. Like what is the shape like?
It's not just one pillar in the middle, it's multiple pillars with multiple shapes. So it's bigger than what we would see as a teepee.
Okay. And how many doors do you see?
There's no doors.
Or like a flap to go in, like wherever you enter, is there like one entrance?
Yeah, it's a hole.
Okay.
It's not a door.
And then what about if you go inside and it's meal time? Do the meals take place inside that teepee or do you eat outside?
We eat outside.
Okay. So describe what it looks like on the inside then.
Inside it's we have a dirt floor, and I think we all sleep in there, but there's not really much to the inside. because we don't spend time in there. It's
Oh,
not.
so it's pretty much just for sleeping, is that it?
Yeah, yeah.
And what do you sleep on?
We have different like fabrics, I guess. Um, that we sleep on the ground. We lay those on the dirt, kind of sleep like that.
So how many people live in the TV where you live?
I don't know. I can't see anyone else.
Okay. But do you see articles to make multiple beds?
I don't know.
Okay. And let's do this at mealtime. Take me to where you eat your meals. And now that we're there at mealtime, tell me what that's like and who's there and what's happening.
It's like a party. We have a fire. Everyone's just together, and there's so a community. We all eat together, and it's happy.
Do you feel like you have family there?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I think we're all family.
Okay. And what do you get the impression that you do with the majority of your time during the day?
Mm. I clean clothes.
You feel like it's for your family or kind of for others also?
For the community.
Okay.
Like we all kind of work together.
Okay. And do you feel like you have any children?
No,
Okay. A husband?
no.
Okay. All right, let's do
Maybe
this.
I am younger.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Let's leave that scene, staying in that same life though. Let's leave that scene and let's move forward to an important or memorable day. So, a day that you consider to be important when something is happening. And we've now moved forward to an important day. What is happening and what do you see?
I'm getting married.
Tell me about that.
We He has a formal head. I don't know the word. Like
Headdress?
yes, headdress on
Hmm?
and a formal loincloth type of thing that's longer. And I'm in something similar, but for a female.
And is the whole community there?
Yeah,
You feel like you have parents there?
I don't know.
Okay. And what do you think about him as you look at him? Like, what kind of feelings do you have?
I love him.
Does he feel the same about you?
Yeah,
What does he look like?
he's handsome.
Is his hair long, short, kind of in the middle?
Kind of in the middle. Dark black hair.
Does he have any sort of paint or jewelry or anything on him for your wedding?
Yeah, we're both painted in traditional wedding paint and clothes for our culture.
And if somebody calls you, what name do they call you?
I don't know.
Okay. And how do you get married? Is there somebody standing in front who does like a ceremony or something like that? How does that work?
It's a ceremony, and the leader, the chief of our tribe, is the officiant. And we have rituals that we do.
Can you tell me one of the rituals that you do?
It's just songs and dances that we've learned, that we've passed down through generations.
Did. Is there going to be a party after the wedding?
The whole thing's a party. So it's not like a wedding today. It's like the whole day is like the party.
Hmm. And so at nighttime, what do they do at night? What do you do at night to celebrate? Is there like a big fire or anything like that? Or
Yeah, there's a big fire and we continue the celebrations.
okay. Very good. Let's do this. Let's leave that scene, staying there in that life, and let's move forward to another important day. So, a day that you consider to be important when something is happening. And we've now moved forward to another important or memorable day. Tell me what's happening and what do you see?
Can't see anything.
Okay, let's go back to the wedding then. Moving back to the wedding, seeing the fire and the celebration continuing into the night. Go forward to the time when the night is coming to an end and tell me, do you go back to the same TP? Do you go to a different TP? Where do you go?
Looks like the same TP.
Okay.
It could be different, but they look the same.
Oh, okay.
And we're giddy.
Okay, so going from
I
there,
keep seeing a picture of me
okay.
making something.
Ah,
Like there's not that night, but just in general, there's a black bowl
okay,
and I'm crushing something up in the bowl, like herbs,
okay,
something red. And I think I'm making something.
okay. Well, let's do this. Let's go to you, or we're on your way to that teepee, and you said you were both giddy. So go there, and I want you to go forward, even if it's just hours, days, could be weeks or months. Go to a time when something kind of different or something stands out in your mind as being memorable. So move forward to something just a little memorable in your mind. Could be even a super peaceful time. It doesn't have to be a major event. But tell me, now that you're there at another memorable time, what do you see happening?
It's just me and him, and we're flirting and walking on a path together. We're in the woods somewhere. but we're just exploring and being being happy. There's no stress. He's gonna be the next chief. So it's before he becomes that. We're just enjoying life.
Okay. All right. And does that day end well? You get back to your TP all right and everything is good?
Yeah,
Okay. Let's do that one more time. Let's move forward, whether it be days, weeks, months, could be even years. But let's move forward to another
mm,
memorable day or an important day. So, a day that you consider to be memorable when something is happening. So, we've now moved forward to another memorable day. What is happening and what do you see?
I'm holding a baby.
Girl, boy?
She's mine. We're so happy.
Are you inside the teepee?
I think so.
And your husband,
Donna is her name.
what is her name?
Nana.
And your husband's there with you?
Yeah. And an older lady. A healer.
Baby's all healthy?
Yeah. She's beautiful.
Mhm. Okay, let's do that one more time. Let's leave that scene and move forward to one more memorable day, important day. So, a day that you consider to be memorable or important when something is happening. So, we've now moved forward to another important day. What is happening and what do you see
My husband's becoming chief.
about that?
I'm proud of him. I have 2 kids. Nana is older now. I think she's probably about 7.
Okay. Is,
And
is
I'm
the
proud of him.
is the other child a boy or a girl?
It's a boy.
Okay. And so tell me a little bit about the ceremony. What do they do?
He has his big headdress on, and there's drums, and he has the face paint all done. And there's a ceremony with all the men. And we're watching.
The kids seem happy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're proud of him.
All right, let's do this. Let's go forward however long it is in the future to the time just before you take your last breath. So it could be months, years in the future, however long it is. But moving forward to the time just before you take your last breath, I want you to tell me now that we're there, where are you, what's happening, and who's there, what's going on.
I think I'm injured.
Okay, where do you feel hurt?
My heart.
Mm.
I just see blood. Um, but I'm in the teepee, and my family's around me.
Does it feel like it was a
So
long time after your husband became chief? Was it quite a bit later
mm,
or not too long after?
it's definitely after. I don't know how much longer after though.
Are your children there?
Yeah.
Do they look about the same age or older?
They're older, probably in their 20s.
Okay. And how are you feeling as you lay there? Like, what are you thinking as you look around? Do you know that you're going to die? Do you not know?
I don't want to die.
You do or don't?
I don't.
Okay. And your husband's there?
No.
Okay. So, what are you thinking as you lay there, other than the fact that you don't want to die? Are you reflecting on your life? Like you have a feeling it's coming, or are you fighting it? Do you not know it's coming?
I don't know it's coming.
Okay.
I think someone, it's like someone attacked me or something. And so I'm trying to fight for my life, but, and so I'm focusing on living. I don't want to die.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's go to a few moments ahead to the time after you've taken your last breath and your soul has left your body and you're looking down at the scene from above. Tell me what it is that you see, what you're thinking, who's there.
Sad. Everyone's sad. I shouldn't have died.
Is your husband there yet or not yet?
I think, I don't know if he's died or he's not, he's not there.
And so, what kind of thoughts do you have about that life other than that you're sad and you should not have died? Do you feel like it was a good life? Do you feel like you did everything you wanted to do in that life?
I do. I just needed more time. Wasn't my time to go.
Now that you're above looking down at it, are you able to see what happened? How were you killed? How were you injured?
It's like someone, I don't know if I was protecting someone and I stepped in front of them or if I was trying to like, I guess I was trying to protect someone and I died and that's what I wasn't supposed to.
And was it an arrow, a knife? What was it that injured you?
I think an arrow.
And are you able to see if your husband's around anywhere now that you're in your soul? Do you feel like he's still alive on the earth or do you feel like he's gone?
He's gone.
Okay. So what do you do next after you are done kind of looking at that scene? Do you hang around for a while or what do you do or where do you go?
Oh, I know, I'm just watching. It's just sadness now.
Do you see a light anywhere you can go to, or do you not see a light?
I don't see a light. It's
So let's go forward, just kind of speed up the timeline just a little bit. So you're done kind of looking at the scene and watching, and what do you do? What's the next action you take or the place that you go?
the water. It's like a raindrop. I don't know. I can't make it out.
Do you feel like you ever leave that place?
It's like a peaceful place.
So you went someplace else?
Yeah. I don't know where I am though.
Okay.
I just feel rocking. There's water. I don't know.
And you don't feel like you have a physical body, do you?
I guess not. Maybe I do. I just feel like I'm on a hammock type thing. There's water. Or I'm like floating in the water. It's hard to describe.
Okay. Does it feel peaceful?
Yeah,
I feel like you're getting some healing there.
I think so. And I'm alone. Maybe I'm just an entity that just needed to be. I just needed to rest. Didn't need the commotion. That's why I'm by myself in the water.
You feel lonely being by yourself or not?
No, I feel peaceful. After everything I went through before, it's just nice to relax.
And there might not be such a thing as time or a sense of time where you are there, but if you had to kind of ballpark it, would you say you were at that peaceful place there for quite a long time? Or just, no, not too long, or a short time?
It felt like a long time, but it's also, I don't know what time really is. So I don't know how long it actually was. But it's just until I was able to recenter.
Okay. So once you feel you were able to recenter, did you go someplace else or do something else?
Mm. I'm walking in the forest. And I know I'm walking two people. Um, I don't know how I got there though. But it's like now I have I guess a body of something.
Okay.
Um, I see like green though. Like I keep thinking of a frog.
So it
So it's
doesn't
like I
fit.
don't know if I'm a human.
Okay. You feel like you're male or female or neither?
I guess really neither. More
Okay.
male. I feel more masculine energy, but yeah,
So if you feel into your body a little bit, does it feel human or does it feel non-human?
feels non-human, I guess. Yeah.
And do you feel like you are able to walk?
Yeah,
How many legs do you walk on?
two.
And if you look at the color of your skin, is it green?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel tall, short, small,
Hmm.
large?
I guess small. I have three big toes. Like that's my whole foot is like three big toes. Green toes. Or I guess my fingers are like that too. I don't know. It's weird.
Mhm. And do you feel like you are connected to any other beings that look like you in any way, or like a sense of community, or not a sense of community?
I don't really feel a sense of community. I don't feel lonely though. It's kind of like I just am.
Does it feel like it's planet Earth or someplace else?
It must be someplace else. Feels like Earth though. 'Cause it's like I see a big pond and trees, so I mean, but it's like I'm alone, so I don't have anything else to base anything off of.
And do
Hmm.
you feel like you have, so you said you feel non-human, and you said you walk on two legs, the color of your skin is green, you feel small. Do you feel like you're able to build anything or make anything, or do you just kind of live with the land?
I kind of live with the land, and I must not be on Earth because the ground is blue.
Okay.
Um, but I just kind of like I don't know, it's like peaceful where I'm at, but it's like I'm by myself. Huh.
What do you feel like you do with the majority of your life, of your time, with your time?
It's kind of like meditating. It's like I'm in the water meditating, or I walk and I'm meditating, and it's like just it's I mean, peace is the only way to describe it. It's just like I'm zen. It's like I don't notice eating anything. Um, but it's like being in the woods and the trees and the water. It's nothing is torn down like in on Earth. It's like all natural.
You feel completely safe, or does it feel like there might be predators or threats around you?
I feel safe.
It's very peaceful and
Mm.
serene. Does it feel like this might be a place where you kind of go to maybe heal a little bit or come to
Yeah, I think it's where I go after the traumatic past. I came here to recenter, rebuild back who I am, because it wasn't supposed to happen. It was a mistake.
So let's do this. I want you to drift away from that life now. We're drifting and floating away from that life, leaving that being there to continue on their own journey, knowing that they will find peace. They'll find what they're supposed to find. We're leaving them there to continue on their own journey. They'll find peace in what they're supposed to find, leaving them there to continue on their own path and drifting, floating away. And now I want all of the consciousness and personality of Lee to once again return to the body and fully integrate back into the body. And may I speak to Lee's higher self, please? Permission to speak to her higher self?
Yes.
I respect the power of her higher self because I know the higher self takes care of Lee's body and does a very good job of it. And I also know that the higher self has the records of everything that has ever happened to Lee in this lifetime and all other lifetimes that she's ever lived. So I respect the power of the higher self, and I always ask for permission to speak to it and ask it questions. Do I have permission to ask her higher self questions?
Yes.
I know her higher self could have brought forth many different lives for Lee to see today, and you chose to bring forth the life as the Native American woman for her to see. And I'm just curious as to why you chose to show her that lifetime.
I wanted to show her love,
And
and
why is
that
that?
love doesn't have to be difficult. It can be simple.
Okay. Does she think that love has to be difficult in this lifetime?
No, she just doesn't know how to love. She doesn't let herself love.
What does she need to know in order to know how to love?
Mm.
What is she missing?
Self-love. She has to learn how to love herself. before anyone can love her the way she needs to.
So, what are some things she can do to increase her self love?
Pray,
I'm sorry?
meditate, pray,
Pray. Okay. What else?
meditate,
What else?
do things for just her,
Anything else?
clean,
That brings her joy.
yes,
Anything else?
mm, I can't think of anything.
Okay. And when she prays, what is she praying?
For love, guidance,
Who's hearing her prayers?
all of us,
Who is us?
our higher self and our guides. She doesn't talk to us enough,
Are you always talking to her?
trying to.
You send her signs?
Yes,
Like what?
numbers, messages, songs, passages. She knows sometimes, but sometimes she just is blocked from hearing.
What is blocking her from hearing?
Her ego.
How can she get past the ego to hear you better?
Just let go, release, surrender. She doesn't have control. Just let go.
Trust and believe that you're talking to her?
Yes.
And what about meditation? What should she be meditating? Well, what does that look like?
Just being without sound. Just get away from everything and just be present.
How often should she be meditating?
Every day, but in this way, at least once a week. Just with nothing, just no phone or anything, just be alone.
Almost like that green creature that she was in that second life that we were shown?
Yes, yes.
What was that life about?
Showing her that she needs to recenter. She needs to feel comfortable just being. She doesn't need anyone around to distract her. Just be, bring peace within yourself. It comes from within, it's not from an outside source.
And what was that place? Was that a real place, I guess I want to call it? Was it another planet? What was that place she went to where she was the green creature?
It's a place inside her head that she can go back to bring peace. And that's why I showed her that, because she has access to it all the time. So it's within herself. It's not a physical place. That's why the ground is blue. This is her favorite color.
Why was she green there?
To make her laugh.
Did she create it being green or did someone else create it to
Mm.
be her skin to be green?
I think it's just a combination. She likes to enjoy life and laugh at things, and so I think it's just necessary to not be herself, just be able to be something different.
Mm. Are you able to upgrade her frequency now so she can be at the highest frequency possible for the rest of the session when her and I are together here?
Yes.
Could you do that now and describe for us what that looks like as you do it?
And bringing a beam of light from the highest good and shining it through her chakras, through her head, her third eye. It's a bright light that's going down her body, shining, shining, going down and expanding. Feels tingly.
Mhm.
It's done.
Does she have any issues in her body on any level that she came here in this lifetime to heal that's left over from any past or other lives?
Her heart chakra, she has a block.
From what?
The trauma that she felt in the past lifetimes. She built
Oh,
a wall.
okay. What's that wall made out of?
Mm. It's like brick type material,
Are you
energetic brick.
are you able to demolish that brick wall?
Yes,
Could you do that now for her and tell us what that looks like?
I might need help.
Who might need help?
This version of the higher self.
Oh, okay. Who can you ask for help?
Hmm.
Can you ask your higher self or the higher self of that higher self?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
So It's hard to move because it's so thick. Hmm.
Can you blow it up?
Yeah, we'll have to. Just need to make sure the pieces all are cleaned.
Can you use some sort of spiritual vacuum cleaner to do that or something else?
Yes, yes. Okay, we're vacuuming it. All the pieces. Okay, it'll take some time to heal fully, and she needs to meditate and do Reiki around her heart chakra to help fill it in. Mm.
Are you able to um, fill that area with Creator's unconditional love and light?
Yes,
Could you do that now and tell us what that looks like?
it's like a fireball of love that we're putting all around her heart and in her heart and protecting it. It's done.
And so, is it important for her to know what those traumas were that caused that wall, or is it not important?
It's not important. I don't think she wants to know.
Okay. And she feels like she holds the trapped emotion of abandonment in her. Is this the case?
Yes, that's part of the heart chakra.
Oh, okay. Does she have any other trapped abandonment in her?
No, that was mainly it. She
Okay.
just needs to continue working on her heart chakra. We've helped now, but just keep working on it.
You said Reiki. Is there anything else she can do?
Pull out the cords.
What chords?
Just attachment. I think I might be able to pull those out.
Can you tell us what that looks like?
Mm. It's like there's a bunch of ropes attached to her heart. And I'm just going in and one by one pulling them out and filling it with a fiery light. I don't know specifically what the cords are for, but I'm just making sure that they're gone. She wants it clean, so we'll do the best we can.
Does it help if you ask other levels of her higher self to also help with this healing for this session?
Yeah, yeah.
How many levels are we able to
Mm.
work today?
7. Yeah.
What's above 7?
Universe?
And do the other levels of her higher self kind of decide when they are needed to assist with things, or how does that work? When do
They
they?
only come when you ask.
Oh, okay. Do you ever ask them for help?
No.
But she can ask for help from them too?
Yeah. She's bad at asking for help, though. She thinks she can do it herself.
What are some instances when it would benefit her to have help from all levels?
Always. She
Oh,
always needs help, but she's too prideful to ask for it. She's Miss Independent.
is that kind of what we would call kind of a negative, so to speak, being that independent and not asking for help?
It's something she needs to learn that you can't do it on your own. And she's learned it to an extent after having her daughter, but she's not all the way there. She keeps reverting back to, I can do this all by myself. I don't need anyone. And so when it becomes like that, it's a flaw and something she needs to learn.
Um, would it benefit her to have Creator's definition of unconditional love downloaded into her?
Yes.
Can you tell us what that looks like as we have that downloaded into her?
Mm. It's particles that looks like fake snow and glitter coming into our body, starting from the crown chakra and just pouring in to her full self, expanding out. It's done. Mm.
How will it change her life now having that definition to work from? And I'm assuming it's stored in her subconscious now. Is that right? That definition?
Yes.
How will it change her life now that she has that definition in her subconscious?
It will make it easier to heal.
Are there any other trapped emotions anywhere in her body?
Yes, in her stomach,
What trapped emotion is that?
fear and anger, resentment,
From what?
her past on this life. She holds a lot of emotions in her stomach.
Are you able to pull
Mm.
those trapped emotions by the root, send them to Creator's light, and download instead unconditional love and light also into that area?
Yes.
Do you do that now and tell us what that looks like?
We're just scraping her stomach, and it's like black guck. Um, Gotta clean it all out. It's heavy, lifting it out. Now we're just cleaning it to make sure that nothing else is there. And now we're adding in the ball of fiery love into her stomach. And it's absorbing all through her lining, her stomach lining. And it's done.
How will it change her life now that the fear, anger, and resentment has been removed?
It's going to take a little while for it to fully leave, but it will help bring her peace
But
to
that,
have it gone.
I'm sorry, but that process is is started and will be completed without any help from her, or does she need to do something?
Yeah, it's started. It's going to just take a few days to fully release everything and fill with the light. I see 3 days.
Okay. Is there anything she can do in the meantime to assist with that? And what I mean by that is get plenty of sleep, drink water, anything like that that she should be doing?
Yeah, just try to relax as much as possible. Don't overexert yourself and just, you're not going to want to be around a lot of people. So keep it to a small, tight group of people and just avoid having any long conversations if possible. Don't talk to your mom.
Okay. Would it benefit her and or her ancestors to heal the generational pattern that work takes priority over everything else in life?
It won't help her because it's not, it doesn't affect her personally. Like she doesn't have that within herself.
Is
Her
she
mom does.
okay?
Um, and I don't think I can't heal that. That's I can't
Would
heal
you
someone else's path.
okay? They would have to ask for their own healing?
Yes.
Okay. Are you able to pull the pain she still feels around the Christmas holiday, given the way she grew up, and download in her instead an abundance of receptors in her cells for joy, particularly around Christmas?
I don't know.
What trauma does she hold around Christmas?
Loneliness.
Okay.
That's it. I think Let me heal the sacral chakra. I feel that it's coming from there.
Okay.
Family ties.
Oh, okay.
I think that's where, if you heal that, it will help with the Christmas thing. So let me clean that area. Yeah, there's a lot here. And it's similar to the stomach where I'm just cleaning up the gunk, the sacral and root chakra. Just cleaning it out and cleaning it. And then entering the ball of love and light. There's a lot to unpack with the Christmas thing. So I can't heal it all now. There's more than just family stuff.
What else do you see there?
Hmm. Just with, I just see so much loneliness. And I think a lot of her issues just like combine to Christmas. So they're not all related to Christmas, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It's just like she chose one thing to put all of her pain towards. Um, and so it makes it really difficult to heal that because there's just so many layers to it. Um, mm,
So if she created those layers, can she uncreate those layers?
hmm. It's like it it looks like a tower, and then there's like bricks surrounding bricks. It's kind of like the heart wall, but like so much more to it. It's like she attached to this one thing, and yeah, she all her anger and loneliness and resentment and everything has attached to this specific holiday. It's really, I don't, it's weird. Um, but hmm,
Are you able to
seeing,
blow it up like we did the heart wall?
yeah, I'm seeing if there's a way to disassemble it to at least make it into smaller pieces to be able to, okay, to be able to get rid of, because I can't blow it up because it's just so thick. So I'm disassembling it, laying it out. Okay. And then now we're gonna start blowing up all of the pieces. Okay. And so it's like black brick. Okay. Now I'm gonna vacuum it up and send it to be recycled for a higher purpose. Okay. That's a lot lighter. I don't know um, if I was able to get it all, but I got a lot of it during this time. She may have to come back to help finish that, but a lot of it has been lifted, and that helps a lot of her past trauma um, and past in general. It feels a lot lighter.
What can she do to continue working on it?
Mm. It's tough because there's such a wall. I mean, I feel like another hypnosis session would help.
Okay.
Um, because I don't know if it's something that she can do
Okay.
on her own. She needs help to finish it.
Okay. And will this also take time like the other healing she had?
That's gone. It's what
Okay.
I've cleared is cleared.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything she can do to bring joy and excitement into Christmas so that not only she can enjoy it, but also create a joyful, loving holiday for her daughter? Like maybe any traditions or anything like that that might help with this because we're getting so close to that time?
Mm. Planning stuff with the community, whether that be like caroling or stuff with other people, because that's where she feels love. So being with other people is really important during this time. It's not a time to be alone and reflect because that's when a lot of negativity will creep in. So being around loved ones or other people will help. And she likes to decorate. She does a tradition where she bakes Christmas cookies. So have a decorating party like she's done the last couple of years to
Mm.
like bring people together.
And this will help create a nice Christmas for her daughter too.
Yeah. Her daughter doesn't understand right now. I think it's tough for her because she doesn't have her daughter every Christmas. Um, and so there's a lot of emotions surrounding that as well. Um, so I think for right now, just being around people, I think will help, and will eventually get better.
Okay. Thyroid issues seem to maybe have some sort of generational connection in her family. If that's the case, are you able to break that chain regarding thyroid health problems?
Hmm. Yes,
What,
Um,
what are you able to do?
it's it's a problem with being unheard. So it's like a it's like a deep issue.
Are there any genetic markers in her to get thyroid issues?
Yeah, and we can heal it. It's just more of like trying to figure out what the root cause is, of where this is coming from. And it's something with being unheard, like you're silenced. Um, hmm, um, well, I don't know if we need to know the root cause to be able to clear it. So what I'm gonna do is put a light in her throat, and it's connected to her mom and her mom's throat and her grandma and her grandma's throat, and then on down the generations. It's like a long cord of healing, and it's just this bright yellow light just passing through, healing the thyroid, healing the throat chakra. And I'm going to keep it there. And it will eventually, once it's done, it will eventually release the cord. But to heal the generational, it needs to be connected right now.
And the cord will fall away once the generational pattern has been healed for that?
Yeah, so once they're all healed, the cord will fall away.
Same question with regard to her family's backs and hips. Seems to be a generational connection between having back and hip problems in her family. Is there anything you can heal with that so that back and hip problems do not affect her?
Hmm. I'm trying to think of how I can heal the generational, because I don't know if I can heal the generational with the back and hip pain because they're different issues. It's not like with the throat chakra, it's one and the same issue that's been passed through, but the back and the hip is different. They it just is more coincidence that they have back and hip issues.
So it's not
Um,
generational?
that's not generational, no.
Okay.
But she still does need healing. Her hips, I can't tell where it's from. She needs to stretch. I'm giving light to it, but I can't get to the root cause of that. And this is something I can't fully heal unless I have the root cause. I can't get to it.
What's blocking you from getting to the root cause?
I don't know. It's like I see that it's there, but I I can't hear it. I can't see what it's from.
Is there anyone you can turn to ask for help
Hmm.
in seeing what the root cause is so it can be healed?
Yeah, let me see. Hmm.
Maybe the law of knowledge or anything like that?
Yeah, let me ask. Hmm. The law of knowledge saying that it's because she's not taking care of herself.
Mm. What does she need to do?
Stretch and do ab workouts for her lower back. But stretch, she needs to stretch
Every day?
every day. That's part of self-love. She can't not do it. It will help release anything that's blocked in those areas, but she has to do that herself.
I think she'll take it seriously and do it after the session.
I hope so. She needs it.
Does wisdom, and we can ask the law of wisdom if we want to join us, if that you think that might be helpful, but does wisdom dictate that she do anything to prepare on a physical level for future events on planet Earth? Like examples would be stocking food or water, investing in any particular thing, or any other thing that will help her be prepared for possible uncomfortable future timelines.
She'll be okay. I can't, there's nothing to prepare. Just don't live in fear. She'll be fine.
Okay. So, like her mom and grandma, she picks at her nails and bites them. What is that? And can you break this pattern in her? And what does it look like if you break it?
Hmm. I don't know if I can break the pattern, but it's something about self-love. It's like anxiety driven.
Are you able to see the root cause so we can pull it by the root?
It's just more of like an underlying anxiety.
Okay.
Um, Nothing specific. It's just more of like a, I don't want to say bored, but it's like I I need to be doing something and like it's like a perfectionism response. Um, hmm. Uh, what I she just needs to practice. I mean, I keep going back to this, but self-love, it will help with the underlying anxiety. And I've given like a blanket of light for her to wrap around herself. And I can't heal her grandma or mom because it's not, I can't heal them.
Okay.
It's not, I mean, it's a generational thing, but it's not connected.
Okay.
Um, but I've given her a blanket of light to wrap around herself to help with any anxiety or tension she feels.
Okay. She's had a lot of stomach issues. I know we addressed stomach. She feels like she
Mm.
doesn't have control over what's going on in her bowels, like pizza and ice cream make her stomach super sore. Did we heal that, or is there more healing that could take place in that area to help with the stomach area and her ability to eat foods and not have it be upsetting to her?
We healed a lot of it, but I think a lot of it is the stress and anxiety, and the blanket will help.
Mm.
She just needs to go to that peace place that we talked about.
Okay. In meditation.
Yeah.
And so if she does these things, those issues should go away.
Yeah. I mean, eat healthier for sure. Um, and just limit it. She goes on excess. It's
Kind of diet is best for her.
hmm, I don't know.
Who would know the law of knowledge?
Yeah, let me ask. Hmm, hmm. I don't know.
Are you able to tell what foods, types of foods are energetically best aligned for her body?
Apples, fruit, fruit. She needs to eat more vegetables. Yeah, fruit and vegetables. Just more of a natural diet, not as many processed foods.
Is there anything else she can do to improve her gut health that you're able to tell her?
Hmm. Nothing at this moment. I think She needs to start with eating fruits and vegetables and seeing if that helps and going from there.
So no meat.
Limited.
Red meat, thumbs up or thumbs down on red meat?
Hmm. Limited.
Are there any certain foods she should be avoiding? I guess you kind of said processed foods and anything that's not fruit and vegetables, right?
Yeah, processed foods. Just, yeah. It just needs to be like if you eat red meat, make sure it's like organic, healthy stuff. Don't eat crappy foods.
Okay.
Like eat a good steak, not processed meat. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, healthy. Just she needs to cook and find the joy in cooking and stop making excuses. And then it will be easier to eat healthy.
Are there any supplements or herbs or vitamins or anything like that that she could take that would be beneficial for her?
Vitamin D, vitamin C. Those are the only two right now.
Okay. She doesn't feel like she needs
Mm.
her antidepressant medication any longer, but is that something she can just stop taking now without any complications? Or what would you recommend for her?
She can weed off of it. I wouldn't abruptly stop, but maybe take half the pill for a while and see if that feels any different before quitting.
Will she be negatively affected if she stops taking it?
It's just something she needs to weed off of because it's an unnatural supplement. Um, so it's not something you can abruptly change.
Okay. Is there anything natural that would be good for her to put in its place? Or no? I'm thinking in terms of like CBD oil or just like anything natural, or does she not need it?
Sunlight,
Okay. Anything else?
walking,
How often?
at least once a day.
Okay. How will sunlight benefit her?
It will give her the positive natural minerals that she needs.
She has a negative body image and insecurity expressing emotions and affection in relationships. Why is that? What's the root cause of that?
Just her past trauma. She's built a wall around herself and won't let anyone in.
What is that wall made out of?
It's like a jelly type. It's like that's the only way I can describe it is like jelly. But it's like not, it doesn't separate. It's like a solid jelly.
Okay. So it's kind of squishy.
Yeah, yeah.
Why is it squishy?
I think it's kind of it's like so it like bounces. Like so things can bounce off.
Mm.
Um, so it's like a protection mechanism. Um, so it's like she's protected from like not feeling and like feelings going out, but also feelings coming in. It's like thick layer of goop.
Are you able to liquefy that jelly wall?
I think so.
Could you
It's
describe
time.
can you describe for me what that looks like?
Yeah. So
And then
it's like,
let it drain down some sort of drain and be repurposed in a higher way?
yeah. So it's thicker, so I have to cut it. It's
Oh,
like cutting like an orange, like, but it's like thick. Um, and it's like a clear and a foggy texture. Okay. I'm gonna I'm gonna do this without talking.
okay. Just let me know when you're done, please.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm just cleaning it off. It's like a power washer, making sure it's clean. Mm. Okay. I'm gonna put an extra layer of light on on like on where it was to kind of help seal that from coming back. Okay, it's done.
So how will her life be different now without that jelly-like wall?
It's a lot lighter. It's like she lost 15 pounds just of heaviness, so just melt away.
And it's done. It won't continue like throughout the next 3 days. Is it totally done?
It might need a little time, but I put a layer of gold on top of it, so it's like she's wearing a gold suit
Oh, okay.
to help protect from that happening. Yeah.
Well, kind of speaking of weight, what you just said, she feels stuck at her current weight and is unable to get rid of it. What's the root cause of the weight that's just holding on to her?
I think it was, yeah, everything that I just discussed. It was just everything was just kind of like sticking to her, kind of like the Christmas. Everything was like piling around Christmas, but now it was just all the past traumas were just like stuck to her instead of just bouncing off and being let go. It was just stuck. And so when I cleared it, I was able to like basically like get rid of fat suit. Um, so mm,
So the weight will come off now? Or does she need to do
yeah,
anything else? Or can you speed up her metabolism or do anything like that in addition to it?
she needs to eat healthy or with the processed foods, but it will it will be a lot easier now.
Okay. So she can't just go off and eat anything she wants.
No, I mean she does need to be I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I
Is there
should know she needs to eat more fruits and vegetables,
okay.
but I don't know if she can eat whatever she wants.
Okay. Is there any sort of like, I guess I almost want to call it like a thermometer or a gauge that you can set her body to? So almost like a GPS where you set it to a certain destination. Are you able to set it to a perfect weight for her, kind of almost like a GPS, so that her body just almost is shown
Mhm.
the exact way on how to get there and what to do to get there, so her body just kind of naturally does it?
Yeah, 135 is what I'm seeing. And I'll put in the how, but it will be a lot easier now. It'll be healthier, but she needs to stretch.
Okay. But you did install almost like that GPS or that gauge for her?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Is the holding on to of weight, it wasn't a generational pattern, was it? It wasn't like a her thing?
No, it was her trauma response just from a lifetime and just everything kind of like sticking to her. Um, Everyone has different issues around weight, but that was just hers.
Mm. She wants to know what her next step in life is. What can you tell her based
Mm.
on the plan she made before she came down here, or what would be in her best and highest good?
Be patient. Just enjoy life right now because it's going to change.
Mm. So be more focused on the now.
Yeah, be present.
Don't worry about next steps.
Yeah, she doesn't like that, but just enjoy life, what you have in front of you. And don't worry about all the other things, and that's where you'll find joy, true joy.
Why did her daughter choose the dad that she did?
I don't know.
Is that something
Um,
that's possible
it's
to
not,
ask her higher self?
it's more of a question that her daughter has to answer. It's not something that is in our wheelhouse. Um, because her daughter's a separate entity. Um, her daughter did choose her to be her mom. Um, because she wanted a mom like her, someone that would love her unconditionally. But as far as the father, her father goes, it's it's separate. Um, so we can't see it. She needs to focus on herself and not him
Okay.
because it
So,
doesn't matter.
okay. But she did choose her dad, is that right?
She chose, no, I think it was, hmm. It's like she didn't care who her dad was. It was the opportunity to be here with her mom.
Okay.
So it's more of like she chose her mom and didn't care who her dad was.
Okay.
But she would learn lessons like regardless of whoever her dad was or the lessons she needed to learn.
Okay.
Um, that's kind of what I'm seeing.
Okay. Is she an advanced or an old soul, her daughter?
Yes, they decided to come here together.
Lee feels like she came here because her daughter asked her to. Is that true?
Yes, yes, her daughter wanted her as the mom. She was her daughter in her past life.
The past life that we saw or a different life?
Multiple lives.
Okay.
And that's why she doesn't care who her dad is, as
Okay.
long as she's her mom.
And that kind of fits in nicely with the next question is what can Lee do to best shield and protect her daughter from her daughter's father's negative energy?
Mm. Send her love and light, but also understand that she has to learn her own lessons. She can prepare her by, well, as she grows up, by teaching her about protecting her energy and, but she can help her daughter by protecting her energy. Um, but yeah, she has to let her daughter learn her own lessons.
But she's allowed to shield and protect her daughter while she's young, right?
Yeah, and she can continue to do that while she's older, but her daughter needs to learn for herself also when she's old enough to understand what it means.
Okay. Is there anything else you can tell her that would be in her daughter's best interest regarding her father?
She's safe. She's okay.
Is there any inner child healing that would benefit Lee right now? And if yes, what inner child healing would benefit her?
Hmm. She's done a lot of inner child healing. And having Adeline, her daughter,
Okay.
it just playing with her and being the mom that she always wanted to have, um, is is a lot of healing.
And I'm sorry at the beginning I didn't catch. Did you say she's done a lot or she needs to do a lot of inner child healing?
She has done a lot of
Oh,
inner child healing.
but is there
Um,
any
hmm,
specific thing you could pinpoint right now that might help her?
I think just what we've done today by releasing a lot of the past traumas and the past emotions, I think will help the inner child as well.
Okay. She has a hard time feeling safe in a relationship, and
Mm.
she described creating a bubble around herself. Maybe it was that jello wall, I'm not sure. Maybe you can tell me, to keep her at bay, and finds things wrong with men in order to push herself away. And she feels like she keeps repeating this cycle of terrible relationships. Is there anything you can do to help heal this cycle and get her off that loop,
Yeah.
that roller coaster? She feels like she's broken in this way.
Yeah, she's definitely built up a wall, but she needs to be vulnerable. Um, and even though she's been hurt in the past, it's okay to be vulnerable and just communicate what you want and how you feel. And it's safe to do that. And if they don't agree and they want to leave, let them leave. It's not, you need to stand your boundaries and stand for what you deserve. That's something that she needs to learn though. She has to do it and she has to, we'll send her love and light, but this is a time where she can ask her higher self for guidance and help.
So you can't take down that wall.
Well, we did with the
Okay.
other healing that we've done. So we've done as much as we can at this point, but she needs to be able to be vulnerable and
Okay.
be open to receiving that love.
So is there someone out there that she's made a soul contract with that can help her to learn how to be vulnerable and learn that lesson?
Hmm. I don't know.
Who would know?
Hmm. Truth.
Oh, the law of truth. I love, love, love the law of truth. Can we speak to the law of truth also?
Yes.
So asking the law of truth, does she have a soul contract with anyone? I'll just take it a step further, to get married within this lifetime and help her to learn the lesson of being vulnerable and being open to receiving love in this lifetime?
Yes.
And what does she need to do, if anything, to get to that point, or is that person just going to appear in her life?
He'll come. She needs to He'll come.
Okay. She said she never goes anywhere, so she's wondering how she'll meet this person.
He'll just be there and
Ah.
she'll know.
Are there any other children that she's meant to bring into the earth?
Yes.
Ah, how many?
2.
Will it be with that person that she's going to meet and have a relationship?
Yes. One of them at least will be.
Okay.
One, I'm not sure. He might have a kid.
Okay. Um, she does want to be in a stable, loving, committed, monogamous, respectful relationship, just putting that out there on her behalf. Um, are there any healing or actions she does need to take or keep in mind for that to, I mean, is there anything she could do to kind of screw this up, or is it a soul contract that's going to happen no matter what?
It will happen, but she needs to focus on herself and self-love. That's all she needs to focus on right now. Don't worry, just focus on loving yourself.
Okay. Sounds easy enough.
For her, it's hard for some reason.
Um, is there any sort of, oh, well, let me ask this. When in her life, if it's in this life, did self-love, the lack of self-love really take root?
From when she was a child, and I guess going to childhood, our inner child healing, she never felt love, and so she didn't know to love herself. And so having her daughter has helped her realize her own self-love and what she has missed. And so it's kind of come full circle in that self-love regard. But she needs to stop worrying about money and how much things cost and do things that make her happy and have her space filled with joy because money is a flowing object. It's not something you could just hold on to forever. It's in and out, and she needs to understand that putting money towards something that will bring you happiness is okay.
So would it benefit her at all? I mean, I know you said the daughter is really helping her with loving herself, like that child that she was, but would it benefit her to have you go back and do timeline healing on her, meaning when she was a child and not feeling that love, to go back and surround that little girl with create maybe like a bubble of creator's unconditional love and light that just kind of constantly soaks or seeps into her so that she can have that since she wasn't getting it from her environment? Would something like that benefit her?
I think so. It would help a lot of timelines too. Like that inner love, I think, came from past karma as well. into this life, and it just, like, exaggerated in this life. Um, so it's something she needed to learn, but I think healing that karmically, fully, would definitely help.
Could you show us what that looks like to do that?
So I see her as just a white light, and I'm just pouring light over her as a child. And this is just going into all different vessels of different lives and pouring into it's like a sphere of all of the different lives that she's lived in different channels, pouring that light from this child of light into everything and healing, full of self love. And I'm just going to keep it like that. And that will take a while. I can't put a timeline on it, but I'm just going to keep pouring light into that for that healing to continue.
And so, how is her life going to be different now that that has been done?
It will make it easier to love herself. It'll make it easier for her to do things for herself.
You said you were pouring it into the different vessels of different lives. How how does that impact her, if at all?
It helps heal the karmic issue of self-love um throughout any past life. So it's just pouring self-love into all of the infinity or infinite infinite lives that she's had. So it's just bringing it all together to be one big pile of love.
That sounds like an amazing, tremendous amount of healing.
It is.
Hmm.
And that's why it's going to take a little time. It will it will be there for a while, but it's good.
Is there any parallel life healing that would also benefit her?
Not at this time. I
Okay.
think the inner child healing will help for sure that we just did. But there's nothing else specifically that's parallel that needs healing at this time.
Okay. At another time?
Possibly.
Okay.
But right now, no.
Okay. What are some current beliefs that she has that cause her problems and blockages in her life? Anything that's not been addressed already? Are there any other beliefs that cause problems or blockages?
That she's not good enough, but self-love will help that and the inner child healing that I've done will help with that as well. Um, I can't see any other specific blockages. She definitely feels a lot lighter energetically. So I can't see anything, I can't feel anything heavy that's specific. Um, yeah.
Are there any predominant thoughts that we've not addressed yet that are currently creating her reality?
She worries and there's fear. Um, Fear of like something happening, but she doesn't need to worry about that. And that's why she needs to just focus on the present and not, I mean, she doesn't watch the news, but just not get sucked into other entities of things that aren't serving her highest purpose. Because there's no need to fear. Um, and there's no need to worry. Just be present.
Okay. When you say other entities, what do you mean by that?
Just other negative spiritual entities that are of this world, um, can easily come in. And if you just don't, you, the easiest way is to just ignore it. It's you're not healing it. It's more of just don't expose yourself to it, and it won't suck you in.
Okay. So just so we know what those are, can you give me some examples when you say negative spiritual entities that are of this world?
Yeah, so there's a concert that happened,
Okay.
and it was just it was like they were trying to suck the souls of people that were going to it. And there was a lot of information around that. And yes, what was happening is true. Um, but exposing herself to learning about it isn't good for her because she's not, I don't want to say a healer, but she can't help them with that. So exposing her to that is just hurting her. So she needs to focus on things that she can help with. But when it comes to powerful negative entities, like what happened at the concert, she getting involved will just hurt her, or learning about it or being exposed to it will expose her to that negative energy where she needs to be protected from that.
So would that also apply to things like animal abuse?
Yes, everything. Anything that's negative, don't expose yourself to it because unless you're in the field of helping the animals, seeing it will hurt you. it doesn't it can't you unless you can help them, it's gonna hurt you.
Mm. Does it also hurt them, the animals?
It doesn't hurt the animals. It's well, the abuse does,
Right.
obviously, but um there are people specifically there to help them that are called to help them, and they're the ones that have the energetic field to be able to do good for them. And so exposing yourself if you're not energetically called to that will hurt you. So you kind of you got to kind of stay on the path that you're called and help where you can in your path that you're called to do. Um, so exposing yourself to other things that you're not called to isn't going to help you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So would the same hold true for politics?
Yes. That's there's so much negative energy around that.
So it's best just to keep all news away from us?
Yes. Um, that's a tough one though, because there needs to be a change, but you also have to protect yourself and do it smartly in a positive, energetic way. And the way they do it is so negative and energy sucking. So it's don't watch the news for sure, but you have to combine, c- you have to get together with like minded people to help create a positive change to make it happen. But it has to be in a positive way. You can't, what they're doing is not healthy for us.
Thank you for that clarification. That was really awesome. Appreciate that. Next question. Is she okay for a few more questions?
Yes.
Okay. She wants to know if her higher self has a name or what she can call it.
I don't know. I don't know about a name. Hmm. She can make up a name for me.
Is
I'll
there
go by
anything that
that.
you like or prefer?
Hmm. I've never been asked that. Hmm. I
I
don't
got an
know.
I got an email from someone the other day, and she said that her higher self, and I never shared this with Lee, but her higher self, this woman's higher self, said that her higher self wants to go by mama girl and she goes by baby girl. So I thought that was
Oh, I love
awesome.
that.
And she loves that. So
Hmm.
what would
That's
you
so
like?
sweet. Hmm. Hmm. I'll have to think about that. I'll have it come in a dream.
Ah, okay. So what can she do to hear from you more clearly?
Stop listening to the noise around her and get in her peaceful place, and it will be a lot more clear.
And what do you mean by noise around her? What do you mean by that?
Just just anything, music or TV or any sounds, just be silent and it will and she'll just know.
And what about her guides? Same thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Do her guides have any messages for her right now?
You're
Any
doing a great
specific?
job.
I'm sorry?
You're doing a great job.
Uh, but is there anything specific, like advice they could give her right now?
Be patient. Everything's going to be okay. Always go towards joy.
I think there's,
And follow the what feels good. Like follow that's that's us guiding you is what feels good. So follow the intuition. Mm.
is there anything else?
That's all for now.
Okay. She struggles with consistency and motivation to continue things that she starts. Why is that? And is there anything you can do to help her?
Um, I don't know. I think forming good habits and a routine will help. Um, but there's nothing that we can help with at this time.
Okay.
Maybe another time. But there's been a lot of healing, so maybe that will help indirectly. But I think it's been a lot right now, so that we can't help with right now.
Okay. What is the purpose that she planned for her life before she incarnated here on Earth?
Mm. To find the true meaning of love.
What is the true meaning of love?
It's hard to describe. It's a feeling. And she's had the lack of it to know what the full feeling of love is. So she's had the full circle. So, and that's why she just needs to enjoy every moment and not rush to the future or dwell on the past. Just feel that full love every second. Let it soak in because there's so much love around. And what you seek comes to you, so you'll see more of it as you sit in it.
Is she going to, the person she has the soul contract with, is she going to experience real love in that relationship?
She'll she'll find real love in herself first, and he'll match it.
Wow, that's amazing. I know you mentioned that you could do, and I can't remember exactly what we were speaking about, something in this about doing another session to do some more healing, but would it be beneficial for her to do another session with me? And if yes, how long should she wait before doing one?
Mm. Yes, I think a month.
Okay.
She needs some time to get through this hump of healing, and she'll be ready for the next one in a month.
Is there anything else you would like to share with her before we end this session?
Mm. Just love yourself and focus on that. Focus on self love, whether it be something small or something big, but your whole house should bring you joy. Every piece of clothing, every piece of furniture, whatever you have in here should all bring you joy. And if it doesn't, get rid of it. Everything in life should be full of joy.
Anything else you'd like to share with her?
We're always here for you. You just have to ask. And don't be afraid to ask. It's part of self love, asking for help.
Is there such a thing as asking too often?
No,
Mhm. How will her life benefit or change if she starts asking frequently?
she'll be more confident in the decisions that she's making. And it will help with her healing to ask for help, even for simple things, because it needs to become a habit.
She takes all of the information from this session and incorporates it into her life, along with the healing that she received. How will her life be different compared to what it would have been like had she not done this session?
She's more pure. She doesn't, she won't have all of the baggage carrying around that just makes her energetically heavy. It just, it like freed her from like the chains that are just keeping her down. So now she's light and she's free. and she needed help doing it. So if she hadn't had the session, it would have been I wouldn't say a struggle. She was doing fine, but it's she wouldn't have been able to release this on her own.
And what would be good steps for her to take after this session? Like you said, to continue the healing. You said to not talk to her mom. Oh, going to not talking to her mom. Why is that
Mm.
something? And should she be limiting conversations in general with her mom, or what kind of advice can you give her about her mom?
No, it's not in general. It's just more of like don't talk to family members and or friends in general. Her mom just came up because that's someone that she would talk to, and she would call. Um, she just needs to energetically protect herself for a few days, and just kind of avoid outside people. So just play with her daughter and her dog and just be without the outside people as much as possible. Obviously, work, you can't avoid that, but outside people, especially family members, especially mother-daughter relationships, tend to puncture holes in the healing process
Okay. Why do they puncture holes in the healing process?
because they have an idea of who their daughter should be, and until she's strong enough to be her own self, and while she's healing, she has a thin layer and she has to make it thicker so it won't be punctured.
Mm.
And it's basically just like a protective bubble around her. And moms tend to have an idea of what daughters should be like, and daughters tend to be that person where she needs to be her own person and protect herself before she can talk to them. And that's with all family members. It's just the mother-daughter relationship is a lot more involved.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add, or are we good to end the session at this time?
I think we have covered a lot, so I think we're good to end.
Wonderful. Well, that I brought you out.
Whew.
You get to tell me first impressions.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm kind of mad because I didn't. I'm gonna turn the light on and because I remembered a lot of it. And I was like, I didn't want to remember it. Um, but like, oh my gosh, going into the first past life where I was like crying
I
like
know
the
you
whole
were.
time, and I'm like, what is happening? But it was like so emotional, which is so weird because I knew I was Native American in a past life, so it's not, that doesn't surprise me, but it's just like the emotional part of it like shocked me. So,
Yeah, especially when you died when you didn't want to die. It was like,
yeah.
I meant, what, remind me for the next session. I forgot. I wanted to go there and then I just was so concerned that we get through all the questions. I wanted to
Yeah.
ask, who did she stand in front of? Like, who did she take the arrow for?
Yeah, well, and it's weird because it's like I was trying to figure that out, but it's like I couldn't. Like it was just like I knew I was protecting someone, but it's like I couldn't. I couldn't see like what happened, but it's just like it wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah. And so, and then my follow-up question to that would have been, so was that a not a death door that she had pre-planned? Because I've always been told by people's higher selves that we pre-plan all of our death doors. So was it a potential death door and you just decided to take it then, but to your conscious mind, maybe it was just like shocking or like I wanted to explore that more. So
Yeah, yeah, that was so interesting. And it's like I like all I could feel is that like I wasn't supposed to die. Like I wasn't supposed to happen. So yeah, it was crazy.
wow. Yeah. And so who were you taking the arrow for? And is it someone in your current life that you currently know? Like that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, yeah. Like, there's so many
Like,
things.
who was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe your daughter was like your son in that lifetime or something, or,
Yeah.
who knows, right?
Yeah.
And that's why you guys are so close or whatever, right? Okay, so impressions. What do you think?
It was really informative. I wish like I there were more answers to some things that I didn't get, and it's like but I couldn't get. You know, it was just one of those like I for whatever reason it was like that's what like that's the level of where I could go.
Right.
Um and it's like at first I'm like, oh, before the session I was like, I don't want to know, like I don't care about knowing why, but then I'm like, and then I'm like, but why? Like, come on.
I did ask a lot of whys.
Yeah,
Because your
yeah, yeah,
higher self even said, like, I need to get to the root in order to heal it at one time. Your higher self said, I
yeah,
need to see the root. So then I was like, well, I know there's somebody like, it's almost like a corporation hierarchy and creators at the top, right? Like,
yeah,
okay, who's above you? Let me talk to your supervisor. Like,
yeah.
who's your
No, that's
supervisor?
exactly what
Your
I was
supervisor,
thinking. I was
right?
like, yeah,
Right? And then I'm just like, I get giddy when the law of truth comes. So when it was like the law of truth, I'm like, oh, like, right?
yeah.
Like, I love the law of truth because
And
the
it's
law of
so funny
truth,
because it was like so direct too. It's like I could tell that it
exactly.
like changed like
Yes,
the
that's
demeanor.
why I love the law of truth because the law of truth is like, bang, spot on, direct, no sugarcoating anything. Like, because that's like my natural personality, right? And
Yeah,
it's just like,
yeah,
you need to do this, you're not doing this. Like, sometimes I've called the law of truth into people's sessions to talk for a little bit directly with the law of truth. And it's very like, boom, 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 boom. This is what you're doing. This is what you're not doing. You need to stop doing this. You're playing small. You're blah, 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 whatever, right? And I
yeah.
love
But I
it.
love it because that's like how I am too. It's like don't sugarcoat things. Like just tell me how it is, and we'll go from there.
Oh my gosh. So next time when you do a session, if you want, we can just ask to speak to my daughter channels when I put her under, she channels the law of truth because I'm so like, I love the law of truth. And so I'm asking the questions on behalf of our family things, right?
Yeah,
We always
yeah,
talk to the law of truth. And I'm just like, it brings tears to my eyes. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm starstruck, like, like a movie star. I'm like,
yeah. I love that.
oh, weirdo spiritual person I am, right?
No, I'm the same way. I'm a dork, and I love it.
But it brings me joy. Right?
Exactly. That's all you need is joy.
Right? Who cares if no doesn't bring anyone else joy? It brings me joy. um, okay, so let me see some things that I highlighted here. Uh, see. There was so much. You got so many amazing answers and healing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you got
Yeah,
so
I
much
love like
healing.
the I mean, it was like I could see this jacket, like this whole bodysuit of like gunk, and it's like peeling off like an orange, like
Wow. And the blanket, could you feel the blanket, the love blanket when you were a little girl?
yeah, yeah, that was cool. It was just like this shiny, like it was all of light, and it's just like surrounding me. So
Wow, that's so cool. I asked, wait, what was it? Gosh, it goes way up here. Are you able to pull the pain she feels around Christmas holiday, blah, blah, blah. And then there was a bunch of things that were said. And I said, what can she do to continue working on it? It's tough because there's such a wall. I mean, I feel like I caught it. I feel like another hypnosis session would help because I don't know if it's something she can do on her own. She needs help to finish it. Um, What else? Thyroid issues. I highlighted this. If it's generational, are you able to break that chain? It is generational. What are you able to do? It's a problem with being unheard. So it's like a deep issue. Are there any genetic markers in her to get thyroid issues? Yes, we can heal it. Just trying to figure out the root cause, where it's coming from. And it's something from being unheard, like you're silenced. I do not know if we need to know the root cause to be able to clear it. So I'm going to put a light in her throat, and it's connected to her mom and her mom's throat and her grandma and her grandma's throat, and then on down the generations. It's like a down cord of healing, and it's just this bright yellow light just passing through, healing the thyroid, healing the throat chakra. I'm going to keep it there, and once it's done, it will eventually release the cord. But to heal the generational, it needs to be connected right now. I said, and the cord will fall away once the generational pattern is healed for that. Answer, yes. Once they're all healed, the cord will fall away. How cool was
And it's
that?
like I can still picture it. It's like it's so weird because it's just like I see like all these people with like a cord around their neck, but it's like a healing cord.
Right?
It's crazy.
Wow. And then I said, same thing with regards to her family's backs and hips. Is there anything in her that you could heal now so that back and hip problems do not affect her? I'm trying to think how I can heal the generational, because I do not know if I can heal the generational with the back and hip pain, because they're different issues, meaning everyone's hip and back issues are different. It's not like the throat chakra. That's the same issue, but the back and hip is different. It just is more coincidence that they have back and hip issues. Question. It's not generational. Answer, no, but she still does need healing. Her hips, I can't tell where it's from. She needs to stretch. I'm giving light to it, but I can't get to the root cause of that. And this is something I can't fully heal unless I have the root cause. I can't get to it. I said, what's blocking you from getting to the root cause? I don't know. It's like I see that it's there, but I can't hear it. I can't see what it's from. Is there anyone you can turn to ask for help in seeing what the root cause is so it can be healed? Yes, let me see. And I said, maybe the law of knowledge? Yes, let me ask. Answer. The law of knowledge says it's because she's not taking care of herself. What does she need to do? Stretch and do ab workouts for her lower back. Stretch. She needs to stretch every day, every day. That's part of self-love. She can't not do it. It will help release anything that is blocked in those areas, but she has to do that herself. I said, I think she'll be motivated after this session to do it. And your higher self said, I hope so. She needs it. So I sounded convinced, but your higher self wasn't like fully convinced that you would. That's so funny.
That's really funny.
Your higher self knows you better than I do. So,
Uh,
my gosh, what else did I highlight? She has a negative body image and insecurity, expressing emotions and affection in relationships. Why is this, and can you heal it? Oh my gosh, pause for 1 second. So when the law of truth came in, well, we're going to get to that when the law of truth came in. I want to tell you the image that came to my mind. But
okay.
okay, about the negative body image and insecurity expressing emotions. This is her past trauma. She's built a wall around herself and won't let anyone in. What is the wall made out of? It's like a jelly type, like jelly. It doesn't separate. It's a solid jelly. I said, kind of squishy? Yes. Why is it squishy? She's like, why? Right? It's like, so it bounces, so things can bounce off. So it's like a protection mechanism. So she is protected from not feeling and feeling, not feeling, and then feelings going out, but also feelings coming in. A thick layer of goop. Can you liquefy that jelly wall? Yes, it's time. So it's thicker, so I have to cut it. It's like cutting like an orange, but it's like thick. It's like clear and foggy texture. I'm going to do this without talking. And then, okay, just let me know when you're done, please. I got to change that letter. I do Q&A, so question,
Yeah.
obviously, question and answer. Let me know when you're done, please. Okay, silence. Now I'm cleaning it off like a power washer. Okay, I'm going to put an extra layer of light on where it was to kind of help seal that from coming back. Okay, it's done. I said, how will her life be different now? Answer, it's a lot lighter. It's like she just lost 15 pounds just of heaviness. So just melt away. I said, is it totally done? It might need a little time, but I put a layer of gold on top of it. So it's like she's wearing a gold suit to protect that from happening. Is that what you saw? That gold suit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I said she feels stuck on her current weight and is unable to get rid of it. What's the root cause of this weight holding on? Everything I just discussed.
Yeah.
Everything was just kind of sticking to her. I imagined like flypaper, right? Just
Yeah.
right? Like everything, every emotion just like womp, womp,
Yeah.
womp. Kind of like Christmas. Everything was just piling around Christmas. So it's not Christmas, right?
It's like
So
the yeah, it's like everything.
you picked Christmas. It's like you picked
Yeah.
Christmas to be the scapegoat, kind of like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? To catch the blame for it. So honestly, like Christmas has an energy, like the whole holiday season of Christmas. So what I was thinking also, like what I hear my guides telling me is why not just like treat it like a friend around the house at Christmas season and just talk to it and be like you can even apologize to it, be like, I'm so sorry. Like I fall like we talked about before, falsely
Yeah.
accusing, right? Like
Yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
I can't handle being falsely accused of something. Like you've been falsely accusing Christmas, right? It wasn't Christmas's fault, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the energy of Christmas it's just like you want to love it and be friends with it and it's an energy, it's a thing, right? You can
Yeah.
actually like spend time with it and become friends, like best friends even, like you're the best
Mhm.
friend I get to see once a year, right? For like a month and a half or whatever, right? Christmas
Yeah.
season, right? And just build like a relationship like that. And then like if you become like it's your best friend you only get to see once a year, I mean it's going to have a whole different energy for you because
For sure.
it's been
Yeah.
falsely accused, like I
Yeah.
was on American Airlines, right? um, everything was piling around Christmas. Now all the past traumas were just stuck to her instead of just bouncing off and being let go. It was just stuck. So when I cleared it, I was able to get rid of the fat suit. So the weight will come off, or can you speed up her metabolism? She needs to eat healthier, but it will be a lot easier now. I said, so she can't just go off and eat anything she wants. No, she does need to be, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But she needs to eat more fruits and vegetables. But I don't know if she can eat whatever she wants. Are you able to set a gauge in her body so that her body goes there automatically, like a GPS? Higher self said, yes, 135 is what I'm seeing. And I will put in the how, and it will be a lot easier now. She will be healthier, but she needs to stretch. Again, you did install that gauge for her? Yes. So,
I liked that question. I was like, "Oh, that's such a good like," because it has that mark and
yeah.
and I like that.
Like I pictured like a thermostat. Like let's set the
Yeah.
thermostat to 135 and the temperature is going to go there. It might, fluctuate a little bit while it adjusts and whatever, but it's going to go to 135, right?
Yeah.
She wants to know what her next step in life is. Be patient. Just enjoy life right now because it's going to change. You're going to be a mom, like again, right? You're going to have this partner, like your life is going to change. Enjoy
Yeah.
where you're at right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
More focused on the now? Yes, be present. Don't worry about next steps? Yes, she doesn't like that, but just enjoy life, what you have in front of you, and don't worry about all the other things. And that's where you're going to find true joy. Would it benefit her to go back and do a timeline healing? It would benefit a lot of timelines. Um, that inner love came from past karma into this life. And so it was just exaggerated in this life. So she needed to learn it. But I think healing that karmically fully will definitely help. I said, can you show us what that looks like? Yeah. So I see her as just a white light and I'm pouring light over her as a child. And this is just going into all different vessels of different lives and pouring into like it's a sphere of all the different lives she has lived and different channels and pouring that light into everything and healing, full of self love. And I'm just going to keep it like that. And that will take a while. I can't put a timeline on it, but I'm going to keep pouring light into that for that healing to continue. I said, how will her life be different now? It will make it easier for her to love herself. It will make it easier for her to do things for herself. I said, you were pouring it into different vessels and different lives. How does that impact her? Answer: it helps heal the karmic issue of self-love throughout any past life. So it's just pouring self-love into all of the infinite lives that she's lived. So it's just bringing it all together to be one big pile of love, a big love pile. I said, that sounds like an amazing, tremendous amount of healing. Your higher self said it is, and that's why it will take some time. It will be there for a while. It's good. Predominant thought patterns: worry and fear. So read up on that. Talking about negative spiritual entities of this world. There's my TikTok right there, right? I gotta
Yeah.
talk about this one. Like I was like, oh, this is awesome, right? About not watching the news. And I just kind of kept probing a little bit because I was like, this is really good stuff, right? And I've told my
Yeah.
kids before when they go, oh, mom, you got to see this video of them like just, torturing this dog or whatever. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
animal communicators not to participate in watching those things,
Yeah.
because all it does is put attention on it, and then it expands, because what you think about expands. It's energy, anything you
Hmm.
give your attention to expands. So you don't want to do that. And but I love the wisdom that your higher self said, unless it's your purpose, unless it's your focus, your path to do something working with those animals, like the people who rescue animals. I mean, I rescue animals, right? I mean,
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
time, right? But I'm not out there on the street. I'm doing this, right? This is my
Yeah.
purpose. Like
Yeah.
my purpose isn't. I mean, I would love it if it was to actually be on the street, like rescuing these animals, but it's not. Other people, they're like, that's what I'm going to do, right? And I
Yeah.
guess I said, "Oh, I'm going here to like teach people all this stuff, right?"
Yeah.
So I loved that. Um, your
Yeah, I
purpose,
thought that was so interesting. That part of it, because it's like that makes sense. Where it's like you gotta filter what you
yeah.
watch. Sorry,
and
didn't mean to
and then
interrupt.
bringing up that concert. So we're talking. What was the name of that? Just the name of it, just because this video might be seen 2 years from now. Um,
Yeah, it's
the
Astro. It's like
Extra
Astro
World.
something.
What was the singer?
Travis Scott.
Travis Scott. Okay, so anybody
Yeah.
who's watching this video, that's the concert her higher self was talking about, because that just happened. That
Yeah.
concert. So if you don't know anything about it, don't worry about it. Don't go look it up.
Yeah.
But if you are familiar with it, that's what her higher self was referring to, the Travis Scott concert at Astroworld. Um, Yeah, and I made the mistake of asking my boys, because they're 18 and 20. I asked them, I'm like, what is that about? Like, I heard something about it, because I don't watch any media whatsoever, but I asked them to tell me. So then here I'm exposing myself to it too, right? I
Yeah.
shouldn't have been. I should have just been like, no. NMP, my guides taught me this. You can borrow it if you want. Anything that's not like right in my lane, like right in my lane, it's NMP, not my problem. Right.
Gotcha. I
Not
like that. Yeah.
not callously at all. Not without love, not without I can send love all I want. If I hear about it, I'll send love to that whole energy of that whole situation, right? But
Yeah.
it's
But it's like you can't let yourself get sucked into something
it's
that's
what your
not.
higher self said, right? Not letting yourself get sucked into it. So it's NMP,
Yeah.
not my problem, right?
I
So
like
like
that.
my
Yeah.
daughter will sometimes be like, well, you need to call this, you need to email her and tell her like she should do this for her dog because her dog is sick and you should blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, honey, NMP. Like my kids know what that means. They're like,
Yeah.
NMP, NMP, right? So I'm like, NMP. And she's like, you just don't care. And I'm like, no, that's not true. I sent light to her dog. I sent love to her dog. I sent healing energy to her dog. Don't tell me I didn't care, but I can't do anything about it. It's her
Yeah.
dog's journey, and her journey to work out together. It's not my dog. Otherwise, it would be in my house. And then it's my problem, but it's not. It's NMP. It's not my problem.
Yeah.
Like, not
Yeah. We
callously.
can't all save everyone or everything.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Otherwise, we're intruding on other people's journeys and self worth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But your purpose, finding the true meaning of love. How awesome is that? I said, what is the true meaning of love? It's hard to describe. It's a feeling. And she's had the lack of it to know that what the whole feeling of love is. So she's had full circle. So when that's why she just needs to enjoy every moment and not rush to the future, or dwell in the past. Just feel that full love every second. Let it soak in because there's so much love around. And what you seek comes to you. So you will see more of it as you sit in it. I said, will she find real love in the soul contract relationship that's coming in her future? She will find real love in herself first, and then he will match it.
I like that.
Isn't that awesome? And then when I asked about, where are you going to meet this guy? Because she never goes anywhere, she said, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he'll just come. So here I am. I'm picturing you being like one of those ladies on TikTok hitting Home Depot.
Yeah.
That was the image I was going to share with you. I was like, oh my gosh, she's got to go Home Depot.
It's so funny because I live close to Lowe's and I'm like, that's like my favorite place to shop. So I'm like, all right, I guess I need to look a little nicer now when I go.
Yes.
Be wearing my sweatpants.
Put on your Sunday best when you go to Lowe's from now on.
Yeah.
After you finish self-love, right? Then you'll be like,
Yeah.
okay, now I'm really ready to go out. Let's go to Lowe's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else they wanted to share? Just love yourself and focus on that. Focus on self-love, whether it's big or small, but your whole house, love this again, because I have a TikTok on this already, should bring you joy. Every piece of clothing, every piece of furniture should bring you joy. And if it doesn't, get rid of it, right? Because it's all energy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything should be full of joy. We're always here for you. You just have to ask and don't be afraid. That's part of self-love, asking for help. I said, is there such a thing as asking too often? No. How will her life benefit if she asks frequently? She will be more confident in the decisions that she's making, and it will help with her healing to ask for help, even for simple things, because it needs to become a habit.
I like that.
Awesome. And I kind of selfishly asked it, can you ask it too often for help? Like for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
always
Because that's
talking
how
to
I am.
others.
I'm like, oh, well, I asked you a question yesterday. So, like, I'll wait until next week to ask you
Right.
another.
Oh, no, no. I mean, like, I'm the opposite. I'm
Oh, really?
constantly asking my higher self. I'm like, can you give me a plasma body upgrade and just witness that happening in the background as I like sit out in the sun here? Can you give me an energetic body upgrade? Can you give me a cellular body upgrade? Can you cleanse my blood? Can you take me to the sacred healing chamber tonight while I'm sleeping and heal this and this and this and this and this and invite all the ETs that are specialized in healing and ascended masters and angels. Like, I mean, I just go all out.
See,
And I'm
I wish I was. And I'm like, so the opposite. But I think that's the part of self love. Like, I think, it is like, you love yourself. So you like want that cleansing.
yeah,
And I'm like, I have that lack still. So it's like, obviously, I do need the healing and
yeah, because it's simple things. I was just like, what else can I ask for healing for? Because I want it all. And then I'm like, that toe next to my big toe? Can you just make that feel better too? I'm like adding everything, right?
yeah.
And my toe is feeling better. Like all the aches and pains that I have totally disappear because every night I have my higher self take me to the sacred healing chamber and I lay the whole thing out of what it looks like and who I want there and what kind of healing I want. And I tell my higher self to watch it all happen because I'm going to be sleeping. So, yeah, do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Help
that.
remove those walls. Take me to the sacred healing chamber and help tear down those walls. And, if there's any more jelly stuff I'm starting to put up, tear that down. And, I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff like that. But your higher self's name is going to come to you in a dream. You gotta tell me.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is.
I'm like, dang it, why didn't you know now?
Right, right,
But
right.
yeah,
I
I
shared
think
that
that's cool
story.
too, though. Like,
Yeah, I shared that story, and maybe this woman will be watching this video. I don't know, but I thought it was so awesome how she told me that her higher self just said, "Yeah, call me mama girl, and I'll call you baby girl." And I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, that's so
I
cool."
love that. I love that.
So, anyway, I guess we'll chat later about doing this in about a month or, however
Yeah,
long you
yeah,
want
for
to do it
sure.
again. I gave you a keyword that we'll use next time so you can go there quicker.
Okay.
Um, but I'll send you the notes from the session. I tried to type verbatim as much as I could. I'll send you a copy of the recording within the next 24 hours, just because I
Okay.
have a session right after
Oh,
this.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Quick dinner for my kids, and then I have another session. But you glad you did it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yay, awesome. You had a great
I'm just sad that I wasn't like asleep the whole time. But
session.
I mean,
But
it's cool that I can like remember everything in a way
but
too.
let me ask you a question. So even though your conscious mind was there the whole time, did you truly know it was like, I mean, I could totally tell it was your higher self talking, that it wasn't you.
Yeah, no, I did because it was like words just came out. It wasn't, and it's like sometimes it's kind of like where, it's like I'd have to think, but it wasn't like me thinking, it was like my higher self thinking. And it was just like words were coming out without me saying anything.
Right.
It was That's where it was weird. And
Right.
then like when the law of truth, it was like very like direct, like yes, no, and
Right.
so
Right. Right. And your tone changed too. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I loved it how we got to listen to your higher self thinking. Right?
Yeah.
It was like just like little
Yeah, yeah.
like
Like,
pauses.
I never say that.
It was constant. I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
and then being able to ask for all 7 layers of your higher self to be felt
Yeah.
was so cool. And I'm like, well, what's beyond 7 layers? The universe. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Like, okay.
That's so cool. Anyway, that was so awesome. I love
Yeah, it was
every
fun.
session. I always learn something new, and definitely anyone who watched this definitely learned new things too, I'm sure. So you get to digest all of this and
Yes.
follow the directions of kind of walling yourself off from everyone for several days. But you also
Yes.
want to make sure I tell everyone this, make sure you drink lots of water, get really
Mhm.
good sleep, which your higher self did say, get really good sleep for the next 3 days because it can
Okay.
take several days. And your higher self also said it for all the healing to integrate into you.
Okay.
So you just want to do that. And like your higher self said, just focus on your daughter and your dog and, any work you have to do. So.
Yay, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I'm going to stop the recording now and thank everyone who watched. And thank you for letting us put this on YouTube, even though people will see that your face is covered. Thank you so much for sharing this with everyone because I know people are going to get a lot out of this. So thank you everyone for watching and look for more sessions.